The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NBA Big 3 in 30. The 3 biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The NBA Big 3 in 30 starts now with the biggest stories in the NBA.
Cooper Flagg is officially a Dallas Maverick. The Mavs drafting Cooper Flagg was exactly what Mavericks fans needed. It was boring. Boring. Nothing happened. Nothing changed. Nothing was interesting about it. It just
boring as in nothing caught us off.
Hold on. It came and went exactly as it should have. It went through. He was the number 1 pick from the very beginning. As soon as they got the number 1 pick, there was talks about, well, should they go get Giannis? Well, should they go do this? Or should they go, is Nico Harris going to do this? Oh, there's the PTSD and the frustration from Mavs fans, which I completely understand. And then it came through, and he walked across that stage. He is a Dallas Maverick. There was nothing different or that changed about it, and it was boring in the absolute best way that it possibly could have been.
Yeah, still super excited to where it's not. That's not what you're trying to say is like, hey, it's boring, we got Cooper Flagg. But nothing unexpected happened, right? Like everything went as planned. The draft party in American Airlines Center, it's where so many fans came out to that, and it looks like it was a blast. To just the whole experience, the countdown to Cooper Flagg gets his name announced, and then interviews and different stuff. We get to see all the stuff that was like pre-made before the social post and everything, and it just kind of set in at that point. And then, they don't have to call him the kid from Duke anymore. So
that's right. Oh man, that's the thing we gained the most from tonight.
It was kind of just this like realization at the end of the night when Nico's just sitting there saying over and over again, just referencing Cooper. You're like, dang, he really is a Dallas Maverick, and it's pretty special.
Absolutely special. And man, there were so many things. Like as I was walking through the arena beforehand, I was just kind of getting a lay of the land. I've never been here before, and so I was walking through, and guess who walked right by me?
Ooh, John Shire.
No, Oscar Robertson.
Oh my God!
And you just like, I walked by, and I just was like, oh my, like literally like slow motion. My head just went, oh my gosh, as I turned around seeing the big O. And then right after that, Cooper Flagg walks right by me, and you just like feel the excitement about it. You feel what this meant to him and to his family and to his mom, who is a college basketball player and like has helped him through so many things. And you just saw that family come together and be really excited to come to Dallas. And I think that's one of my main takeaways today is that he, in everything that he talked about and said, obviously he's going to say the right thing. That's always what he's going to do. I think it'll take a couple years for him to come out of his shell, if he ever does, to actually answer some questions and show us his personality a little bit more, because he did not do that tonight, which you wouldn't expect. He's very well trained and all that. But he's excited to be a Maverick, excited to play with these guys. He's excited to play with he told us who was at the dinner, the pre-draft dinner. I asked him, I wanted to know who was at the pre-draft dinner. And that was the one question I got to ask him afterwards. And he said PJ Washington was there, who we'll talk about a little bit later. Najee Marshall, Max Christie, and the inevitable Dwight Powell was also there at that dinner. And he talked about how excited he was to play with those guys and to hear what they had to say and learn from them and all that kind of stuff. And it was just great to hear that he's excited to be a Maverick.
There had to be 2 other guys, because Nico said 6 players took him out to dinner. So one of those
on today's show, Cooper Flagg lies to me.
Or Nico Harrison. No. But it is cool. When Nico referenced that tonight in the post-draft presser, he was talking about, and I know this is kind of a trigger word for some Mavs fans, but he was talking about the culture that's built. And he was like, yeah, this is, I think people underestimate the culture that is being built here, and what it shows how strong the culture is, that this number 1 pick comes in, and even some of these vets that he plays the same position as, like a Najee and a PJ and stuff, they're like, hey, we want to take him out to dinner. Like, we want to get to know him. He's going to, like, we're excited to play with him. Nico says in the workout that Cooper Flagg had with the Mavericks when he was in Dallas, PJ Washington was at that workout, and Nico was like talking to PJ about what it would be like to play with Cooper Flagg as they're both watching this workout in the facility last week. That's the it's a cool thing. It's not just a dinner. It doesn't sound like a team thing set out. It's like these teammates set it up themselves and like, we want to take him out. And I think that's why you saw the dinner separate, which makes a little bit more sense too.
There's a bunch of different ways that he said he was excited about being a Dallas Maverick, but my favorite one. So this is how it all kind of worked out. He got his name called, and it is wild watching these guys get their name called because they're all sitting at these tables in the middle of the floor, and one by one they just leave. Like Cooper Flagg really only sat on the draft room floor for like 5 minutes, like the 5 minutes that they were on the clock. It's like how long he was out there. So he gets called.
3 hours.
He was out there literally 3.5 hours. Him and his family were sitting there. I could see him the whole time. And Cooper Flagg gets drafted. He walks up on the stage, hugs Adam Silver, then goes and does that interview quickly over there. We waited for about an hour. Then he comes back and does a press conference with a bunch of like national media and local from other different places and things like that. In that media session, he was asked this question, and I want to read it verbatim because it made no sense. Somebody said, Cooper, on behalf of all the internet conspiracy theorists who couldn't be here tonight, I have to ask, there are tons of rumors floating around that the NBA gave Dallas the pick to get you in exchange for Luka Doncic. Do you have any reaction to that? And Cooper Flagg, this was the first time I'd seen him like pushed off his spot with a question where he just did not expect it. He had no reaction, no answer to it. He just said, no, and just like sat there for a second, and then he said, I don't know what to say about that. He said, I have no insider information if that's what you're looking for. And then he said this, but I just feel blessed the way that it all worked out. And it's just another way that he said he's happy to be in Dallas, that he was blessed how it all worked out, because I'm with him, that I think this is the best scenario that he could have ended up with. This is the best crew that he could have ended up with under, Jason Kidd, with championship caliber players and Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson. And like, there's just a lot that he can learn from this crew, and there's not going to be as much pressure on him right away.
Yeah, that's he said in one of those interviews there with you guys in the Barclays of, hey, I want to be a sponge. Like, that's a number one overall pick who has a ceiling that's crazy, a generational talent that's saying, hey, I want to be a sponge to some other guy. Like, he doesn't have to say something like that. Like, I mean, he's a number one overall pick, but he wants to learn from these vets. Nico talked about it being such a positive thing, not just for veteran leadership, but like, you're going into this situation, and he referenced like, you could even win games when you have a bad night because you have such good teammates, and this team's a win now team and a really good team, that the wins and losses won't be so hinged on how he plays that night.
Yeah.
That there could be nights that he's going to have an off night and it's just not working, and they're not going to get beat by 30. Like, the other guys will step up and win, and you can still find other ways to win and stuff too. So, I mean, we're both pretty positive on the fit. Other people don't view it that way because for a lot of people, they look at top draft picks and they're like, all right, top draft picks have to go to a situation to where they just get a million shots and play 40 minutes. Well, and that's just not always the recipe for success for players.
How about like everybody that got drafted to the Nets? Oh, great fit. That's going to be a great fit. Great fit with what? Like, what do they have? What do they have to fit with? Like, who are you fitting Nolan Traore with, right? Or Igor Demin? I guess with each other. Like, you're fitting those guys together. But
such a great fit with Cam Thomas,
and just him specifically, and Nick Claxton, I guess.
Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right in the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast.
The picks are in. What about good timing there, Casey?
Yeah, right.
What about good timing there? The Spurs, first round only. Y'all probably know this already. There'll be no second round pick. The Spurs traded that out. So, yeah. So we're going to focus only on picks 2 and 14. Everybody act surprised to pick Dylan Harper. I know you were just so shocked.
Yeah,
right. Right, just so
They telegraphed that for months. No drama there.
No drama, no drama. Well, let's go and start it. Your thoughts? What is he going to bring to San Antonio?
I think a little bit of everything. I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but you're looking at a guy, and we talked about it earlier in this week, is that what Harper does so well with this team, where he fits so well, is that his skill set brings out the best kind of in everybody else and their versatility, if you will. An example, Stephon Castle. Now with Dylan Harper here, we're going to see Castle's ability to play the three, Castle's ability to guard bigger players on the floor, and as a result expand kind of the lineups and differentiate the lineups a little bit. In addition to the fact that you want to talk about Harper more specifically though, what he brings is that you're looking at a guy who right now can slot right into that 2-guard spot if they elect to do so, can slot right in as the first guy off that bench if they elect to do so, and just a nice little bit of versatility in that backcourt that is going to go a long ways and fits very, very, very well with Victor Wembanyama, because as we've come to learn, he's such an anomaly, Victor is, that positionless basketball kind of goes to even a different level around him. And when you have a guy who can play both guard spots, and you, as a result, move him to that, like I said, to that 2, and allow Stephon Castle, amongst others, to expand on their skill sets, it's everything that we've been talking about coming to fruition. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fruition tonight for the Spurs, having them come to San Antonio.
You know, and the one thing that still concerns me, and I'm pretty sure it concerns a lot of y'all, the fit. This has been repeated over and over again. It got repeated again today after the pick came in. How are you going to slot Castle, now Harper, Fox? I mean, how do you think that's going to work out?
I think it will, like I said, I think it is going to work, but there are times where their flaws are going to show of just being young players, of what it is. Neither Castle or Harper right now are, barring the unforeseen of Castle taking a big leap, are really good catch and shoot, knockdown shooters. So I think as a result, that's where you're going to see lineup stagnated a little bit, see the 2 of them split up, and we haven't even mentioned De'Aaron Fox yet. Haven't even gotten to that part, who himself is not particularly a great 3-point shooter neither. So you will see, at least in theory, again, you know, those guys stagnated a little bit, in my opinion, in the early on. It's a good way to keep up the normalcy of what was there last year with Fox and Castle, and as a result, blend Harper into the equation a little bit more. Because there is a little bit of repetitiveness with the 2 of them, Castle and Harper at this point, early stages in their careers. There is, but that's not particularly a bad thing going down the road. You take that right now, you live with the consequences now in year 1 with what you got. Years 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. It'll take some time. I know patience has been driven into everyone's skulls here at nauseum. I know it's been maddening, that word, but it's going to take time, but it's going to work.
Exactly. First thing, I love the offensiveness that he's going to bring. He can create his own shot. He's a great 2% shooter. 3% shooter, he's okay. He's not the greatest, but I think that will come in time. But talk about a guy that can open some space for Victor to operate, create his own shot, get defenses on their heels. I think he's going to fit fine. Dare I say, Casey, maybe a starter towards the end of the season?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that a lot of this will come down to comfort. I think a lot of this will come down, which I do think Harper has plenty of. Confidence has been a strong suit of his. Lack of confidence. What I was going to, he's plenty confident in his ability to do that. We've come to learn that through this pre-draft process and interview process and everything we've learned along the way. I am confident right now with the way things are structured, set up. It's a good foundation right now, or maybe not foundation, kind of a, I guess, blueprint maybe is a better word to kind of work with here, of how they get Harper into the equation, how they can take that next step with him, not only in however many games, quarter into the season, but midway through the season, and I think by the end of the season, depending where they are in the standings, depending on where the season turns for better or for worse. Long story short, I think Harper will be a starter at some point in the season. Yeah,
I have no doubt that they're going to figure this out. You're gonna see a little pitfalls along the way, but it'll sort itself out. What's going to be really interesting, Casey, though, if he does become a starter, who does he displace? Would it be Barnes? Would it be Vassell? Could it be that? That's something I'm keeping an eye on, because I think he has that potential to push the coaching staff to this. Maybe second guessing, like, wait a minute.
Somebody will
here.
say.
Yeah, wait a minute here. We got something here.
Yeah.
He's got to be out there. Kind of like we saw last year
with Kessel.
Fans were screaming it. What are you doing, Spurs? Put him out there.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that with Harper.
And I think that's kind of the inevitable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the inevitable. And I know they if we're saying that and we're seeing that, the people on the other side of these curtains.
Yep.
right
they're seeing that for sure.
They're seeing that too.
Yeah.
And they're saying the same things too. They're going to come to a little bit of an impasse when that hits.
Yeah.
Again, that's not a bad problem to have. You work around it. It's the number 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
The guy who's a foundational piece. That, if we're being honest, we probably weren't having this conversation 6 weeks ago.
No.
I don't think a lot of us saw the Spurs locking into this again.
And here's the thing. During the pick, after the pick was made, I looked at you at the table and I said, you know what? Does Harper push this team on the borderline of getting out of the rebuild? I think he does, and I think they may cross that threshold as the season progresses. Because you told me they got their crew. It feels like they got
this
the crew.
This is it.
Yeah.
I feel like you look at the way things are set up right now. Everyone always talks about the big trade, the big move, things like that. That's always just the fun, sexy thought to talk about. But what is there really for the Spurs to do?
Right.
That's left.
Exactly.
That's kind of for the
the big man, but I think that'll be addressed later.
But dramatic side.
Yeah, no.
This is it.
This is
your team that you're going to be working with going into this year,
Absolutely.
going into next year, going forward. Like, this is it. The only other, I guess, hypothetical now that the KD thing is passed was Giannis. But that's probably not happening either.
Yeah.
So this is what you're going with. This is what you're rocking with. It's a good thing to be rocking with. The Spurs are in a good spot for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So those are our thoughts about Harper. Shocker, everybody, I know. Ooh. But let's hear what Brian Wright had to say after the pick was in.
I think I've said this over the years that, like, positions in this day and age don't matter as much. We just saw playoffs where the team that won had a 6'5" wing that guarded the center, right? And you start to put offensive skill sets together, and having multiple ball handlers, multiple people that can create, multiple people that can put pressure on the rim and make life easier for other players on the floor, I think that's an advantage, and I think we can do that for all 48 minutes. And so I'm not as concerned about positional overlap and trying to find skills and people that can put us in advantage situations and be able to play off that, and he can definitely do that. He's got a rare confidence with humility. He's a very down-to-earth, simple kid. Loves basketball, and after spending time with him throughout the process, you can tell that he knows he's a good basketball player, but he wants to be part of a group. He wants to be part of a team. He's willing to sacrifice. He's willing to work for it. And the more we spent time with him, the more we felt confident in that. And again, you talk to a lot of people around the kids, these young men, to try to get an understanding of who they are and, what they're about. And he really confirmed that for us when we spent time with them.
Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com, 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year.
The Utah Jazz got the guys they wanted. Are they right?
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz.
Ace Bailey, Walter Clayton Jr., those are your newest members of the Utah Jazz. No trades of no big moves, kind of as I expected. They all happened before draft day. Here's the show. We'll kind of look at the draft as a whole. We'll look at what's next for the Utah Jazz. We'll break down Clayton Jr. and we'll break down Ace Bailey. The big story of the night on today's show is the Jazz executed as they wanted, got who they wanted. This is Austin Ainge's direction as the new leader of this franchise, and you saw it. You saw it in the first pick, regardless of the noise, regardless of the workouts, regardless of what an agent might have wanted or not wanted. No one really knows. Immaterial to the Jazz. I told you this on Monday. I told you this yesterday, that the Jazz, if Ace Bailey was the guy that they thought was the right one to pick, regardless of all the noise, they were taking it. And they decided to take Ace Bailey over Trey Johnson, over Jeremiah Fears. That was the first decision. The second one that was clear, if talking to people throughout the week, they wanted Walter Clayton Jr. And they went and got him. They didn't sit at 21 with Jakovicius, with Clayton Jr., with other McNelly, with other guys on the board and said, we'll get one of them. They had one guy specifically they wanted, and they went and got him. And I think what you're seeing is you're seeing clear direction out of Austin Ainge's leadership with the Utah Jazz there. Like, immaterial to us what they might want. We're going to do what we want. And not passively letting the draft board come to them. Instead, using a second-round draft pick in a draft where this is probably the worst second round. This is a
top-heavy draft.
The worst second round that we have maybe ever seen in an NBA draft, because of the fact that you are have so many kids who went back to nil in college. Use one of those picks plus one of the future seconds, move up 3 spots, and go get the guy you want. So the first clear sign is a direction, an intention, and a control from Austin Ainge's leadership, giving the Jazz some direction. And now the question is he right? And there's 2 really clearly defined decisions here. The first decision is Ace Bailey over Trey Johnson. It's really pretty clearly what that decision was. So a lot of Jeremiah Fears talk. I have the feeling this was very clearly Ace Bailey versus Trey Johnson. And then the way the draft board was playing out, it was Walter Clayton Jr. or Jakovicius at Illinois, the 6'6" guard who went to Miami at 20. Pretty smart that the Jazz didn't sit back and wait for Clayton Jr. or Jakovicius to get to him. I was kind of doing the checkbook looking at it, and there was a chance that you were kind of certain that one of the 2 was going to get to you, but there was also a chance that they weren't. Like, you were 4 picks away, and it was 18, 19, 20, 21, and you're looking at the teams. I actually didn't think Miami would pull it because they have Jaime Jaquez, who's kind of similar, and then they pulled it at 20, and so you wouldn't have got either of them. All right, let's talk Ace Bailey. The measurables are undeniable. He's 6'8". He's got a 7-foot wingspan. He's got an 8'11" standing reach. Those are undeniable. And you go start running through the draft last night, you can't find many guys with the measurables. Right? It's why Taylor Hendricks went 9 also. You just can't find guys like that. The second one is he's a shot maker. Some of it's crazy. Now, he's one of those where I feel like you do really have to watch games. Because if you go watch a highlight video, you think he's going to be Tracy McGrady. But if you watch a game, that's not who he is. And then if you start looking at the end of the year, he was not a shot maker, he was a shot taker. And that's, I think, has to be addressed at some point. But we talked about it either yesterday or the day before on the show. In February and March, he goes 7 of 39 from 3. That's just shot taking. And shoots 40%. Something wore down during the season. In January, he shoots 49% from 3. In February, he shoots 19% from 3. In March, he shoots 17% from 3. Back to December, he shot 24% from 3. So he can get these shots off. He's thought of as a shot maker. Overall, 35% from 3, 46% overall. It's not bad, but let's be a little careful. The Jazz did meet with him in Chicago. So they have up close personal time. Austin Ainge yesterday talked about watching him at Iona. This was not a blind pick. The Jazz met with literally every single player that was taken in the first round at some point, either in a workout in Salt Lake City or in Chicago. So this was not, they've sat across the table from him. They've had the intel. They know who he is. This is not a blind pick. He has the possibility of being a really fabulous shot maker. This kid, college numbers or high school numbers and who he was out of high school, he's as big a recruit as you can have. In fact, when he left high school at 34 points a game, or was in his senior year in high school at 34 points a game and 16 rebounds and 4 assists and the Georgia Player of the Year, and it was Kansas, Kentucky, and then he goes to Rutgers, he's going to be the number 1 pick of the draft. And then Cooper Flagg reclassifies. A little background on him. His mom played at West Virginia. His dad played at Houston. So he's got a basketball background. They did split, but just a note on that, like not that it's any of our business or you're going to evaluate, but it is worth noting that on his visit to Rutgers, both of them attended at the same time. So it doesn't seem, okay, you got the point. His resume has every key moment you want. He's that big a recruit. Nike Hoop Summit, Jordan Brand Classic, McDonald's All-American, all those things. But let's get to the court and whether he's going to be. Right now, he's Michael Porter Jr. or Rashard Lewis. That's probably the likelihood of who he is. Somebody referenced another one to me, Andrew Wiggins, Golden State. Probably not Andrew Wiggins in his rookie years, but Andrew Wiggins, Golden State. The belief that he's going to be a pure isolation player who suddenly becomes, on the high end, now you're talking an all-star, is a little suspect. That's going to be the step. His handle is not great if you watch him. He's got some nice moves, 1 or 2 dribbles into things, but when he has to suddenly multiple dribble, second move to get going, it gets a little loose. The expectation on him should probably be Michael Porter Jr., Rashard Lewis, Andrew Wiggins, Golden State Warriors. Here's the biggest question. As of right now, every report on him is a lack of maturity, a little bit of a lack of focus. I thought his interviews last night were fun and you could see his personality, but I also thought the overzealous confidence is a little bit kind of matches that, right? When asked about Durant and Giannis, I got something for them too. Okay, fun. They got something for you, buddy. So can he learn? Can he mature? Can he adapt? It's the same question you got in every 19-year-old kid. And this is what you have an organization for. This is why you have a director of player services. This is why you have a chef. This is why you have a nutritionist. This is why you have a strength and conditioning coach. This is why you have 13 coaches. This is why you have Will Hardy. This is your job as an organization, is to take a 6'9", right now 205-pound, incredible measurables, super level skill, help him mature, help him adapt to a crazy world of the NBA, help him get the right food, help him get the right strength, help him get the right mind. It's why you have Dr. Kimmons. And get him to be the best player he can be. Is it the right pick? The right pick on this one is doing what you want to do and being unmoved by the outside information. Whether he's going to be better than Trey Johnson, we'll see. I don't know. I liked Trey Johnson an awful lot. I liked Ace Bailey at 5'2". I liked multiple players who I've been wrong on before too. So and what I think is probably irrelevant to that on this level. He is unquestionably the best pure shot maker, creator with his high release of anyone in this draft. Not the best shooter, but just shot maker out of almost nothing. It's incredible. Reverse pivot, fadeaway. Crazy stuff. Mid-range. And a few other notes on him. Rutgers' defense was 9 points better when he was on the floor than off the floor. His ability, when I say shot taker maker, his ability to organize quickly and rise up is elite. That's what you're drafting. He'll get that shot off in the NBA. He's got a fadeaway to be able to get it. It's great. His touch around the basket, not a ton of floaters and things, but 61%. He does seem to be an off-the-ball scoring threat. Catch and shoot off picks, something Will Hardy loves. And had a pretty good block rate. Doesn't go to the rim a lot. Doesn't play in a lot of contact. Might be because of lack of strength. Only sub 25 free throw rate, 16th percentile rim shot frequency. Not great in that stuff. And there's a difference. What's interesting to me is he doesn't have a great handle, but he's got great touch, which leads me to believe he can get a great handle. I like it. It's a shot. I don't think it's a risk. 6'8" kids who can shoot play in the NBA. 6'8" kids who can shoot play in the NBA. I've never thought this was a risk. The question will be personal development and where he is on that process, because the skills are all there.